there's no excuse you want to give. Don't make any excuse for him. Even Garba Shehu, you can tell every time he speaks, you can tell Garba Shehu is even more eager as the president to go. Because every day you want it. Look, I don't even envy doing the PR job for the president at this time. Honestly, these guys want to give himself relief if he wants to go to Daura this time. But please, security, just do that's the only thing you should do, because as it looks right now,
Omas, you're taking it too far. Mr. President wants to go. When the next person comes on board, he should deal with security.
But if there's no Nigeria, there will be no. Where would these people start from? Jonathan, look, you remember that Jonathan, before he left, President Jonathan, when he left, they had to postpone election that was for February, so they could push back the insurgents in just 1 month.
All right, let's keep it going. Funke Akindele named PDP Lagos deputy governorship candidate.
Oh, honestly, well, what do we see? First, let me give you the good sides to this. Thank God. Okay, now it is for women empowerment. That's a plus. And it is showing that they're trying to tap into the power of stardom, trying to harness what, the powers that you could get from bringing stars into politics. Don't forget, Desmond Elliott is still a member of the House of Assembly in Lagos. He tried it, he succeeded. There's also one Tony One-Week who gave us one of these ever classic we always want to listen to. Now, every Christmas you get to play that song anyway. I don't want to get us in that mood, but he did it. So it's possible. So that's a plus.
But the APC here in Lagos is mocking Jandor, saying picking Funke Akindele has no electoral value.
The state, even the APC in the state already has also issued a statement saying, look, these guys don't have electoral value now. It's for them, they're even going up for Thanksgiving now that they don't even have a viable opposition as it is in the state to face.
So is that the reason why the governor of the state is missing in action? By that I mean always everywhere with his principal, the standard bearer of the APC. They were together to Osun State and every other engagements that his principal has had.
Now, please, I'd like to remind you that the fact is the chairman, the co-chair of the Osun State electoral body set up by the party to make sure they clinch the seat. So it has to be there. That's it. So
quickly, let's run over to Delta because of our time.
But
battle for Delta deepens as Edewe Oboriwori head to appeal court. Now, this is as a federal high court in Abuja disqualified Oboriwori, the speaker of Delta State, who is now the PDP flag bearer in Delta State.
Delta by Delta. Okay, so now the issue in Delta, is only those who know you very well that will pull out the dirt you've been sweeping under the carpet. So by courtesy of the judgment by Justice Taiwo that was issued saying INEC should recognize David Edewe, who came second, a distant second, as the candidate for the party, because there are so many inconsistencies in the certificates that have been submitted by the Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly. First, in his first school living certificate, he bears Oborewori Francis. When he look at his WAEC, what did he submit there? His name is Oborewori Francis. Then somewhere along the line, in his BSc, he became Sheriff Obore. So there's so many things. Why is there so many metamorphoses when you are not, you're not a lover?
Maybe there's an affidavit for change of name.
Of course, he has put up all of those, but the Supreme Court in a judgment issued some time ago in the case of Ndengi Erenyo, it says it is fraudulent for persons to change name to suit changing circumstances. Why are you changing your name like that?
Sheriff sounds more English, and he likes the name Sheriff much more than Francis.
Come on, just you alone. How many times would you go about changing your name? So there must be something about it that the Supreme Court frowns about. So, and they're supposed to challenge it. They just have today, because by 15th, you know what's going to happen? The portal will close. And then
quickly, still discussing politics, Wike seems to be the new political bride. We saw some APC governors visit him. Does this have anything to do with 2023 general elections?
Oh, come on. It's a no-brainer. You know, it has all the trappings of 2023 in it, because in a battle, when you go for a battle, it is said that it is even honorable for you to come second, because you tend to begin to want to call all of the shots. And knowing that there was an agreement by Southern governors back in the days that no one would go ahead to support a northern candidate because it is time for
in
power
fact,
to come
that
down.
meeting was held in Delta State.
Yes. So how come you, who were you called the first meeting, you are now the beneficiary of this process now? So these are the things Wike seem to be fighting against, because apparently, if it's for the VP slot, Wike has said it before now that he is not interested in being VP to anyone. So he may be fighting this now.
But is he leaving the PDP? Because we've seen the APC governors go there to meet him, including Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos I mentioned, who seems not to be here in Lagos almost all the time, traveling for party engagements. We saw the Ekiti State governor also in that. Yes. He's the chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum. All of them going to meet him. Not also to forget that in time past, the Labour Party presidential candidate had visited Wike also in Rivers State. The NNPP presidential candidate, Kwankwaso, had also visited him. He seems to be the new political bride to all these political parties, considering what is happening in the PDP.
Yeah, even a political novice will know that Wike has electoral value, and you cannot ignore that. You ignore that at your own peril. If he can't win, but he can spoil it for you.
I wish we could talk about Osun elections this Saturday, where the police have deployed 21,000 officers. INEC moves 12 recs, that's resident electoral commissioners, and 5 national commissioners just for this one election in Osun State.
The question I would ask, and most Nigerians on the streets would ask, is, are we at war? And a political analyst once, raised the question that elections in Nigeria, the way we organize it, it makes it look like elections in Nigeria is usually what you call organized crime. Why all of this number of police people for just one election? So it leaves a lot.
Let's take a break. Well, we do come back. We're getting straight into our conversation for today. Our guest would be introduced right after the break. Stay with us. Keep the messages coming in on WhatsApp.
Your number one adult contemporary.
Good morning. Please unmute and let's see your faces. We're streaming live on YouTube.
Guy having mask. He's wearing a mask.
No, that's not his picture.
Okay.
Hi, Ibrahim. Good to see you.
Hi, Victor. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Omatseye.
Hi.
Omatseye, nice to see you too.
Nice to meet you too.
Samuel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Ibrahim?
Very well.
I'm good. Samuel, good morning.
Good morning. Well done. Thank you.
We're going on in a bit. In 2 minutes, we're playing the ads now, and then we'll come back. Placeholder. Interesting. Are you going to Osun State for the elections, Ibrahim?
No, I'm not going. I'm not going to Osun. Our team has already deployed to Osun.
Yes, I know.
A few more people went over the weekend, so we are the Abuja crew.
Okay, great. Programs head, yes.
Program manager.
Program manager at Yaga. All right. Samuel, you are shared learning. I remember.
It's not shared learning.
Please remember.
I'm impact assessment and shared learning.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So we're coming back in 30 seconds.
It's Dangote Bag of Goodies Season 3. Yes. Now Dangote has become a multi-millionaire. Category 1. Pick up the scratch card in bags of Dangote cement and win instantly. Category 2. Pick up the scratch cards in bags of Dangote cement to spell DENGOTE and qualify to win $1 million stock prize. Category 3. Pick up the scratch cards in bags of Dangote cement to spell DENGOTE and qualify to win $5 million mega stock prize. When you pick an alphabet, then eagle. One of the alphabets must carry the Dangote Eagle logo for you to win the mega stock prize. Terms and conditions apply. 98.1. It just feels good. So good.
Welcome back to Talk Politics on Smooth 98.1. My name is Victa Pepple, and we have Omatseye Atsenuwa here in the studio. Our guest for the next 30 minutes discussing some of the biggest stories and big happenings in Nigeria is Ibrahim Faruk. He is the programs manager at Yaga Africa. Ibrahim, good morning to you.
Good morning, Victor, and good morning, Omatseye. Thanks for having me on today.
Thank you very much. Also joining us is the Impact Assessment and Shared Learning Manager at Action Aid Nigeria, Samuel Ikani. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Victor, and thank you, Omatseye. Thank you.
All right, glad to have you gentlemen join us for the show today. So quickly, our topic is placeholder, merit and demerit in the emergence of running mate across political parties, as we've seen right now. So I'll go quickly to Samuel to help us get things started. Samuel Ikani. Let's get a background here quickly to all of this. You give us a background to all of this, like how constitutional is this concept of a placeholder, by political parties in trying to get their candidates and also getting a running mate? Walk us through.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. The issue of the placeholder it's a unique invention. Actually, it's new, but it has no place in our constitution. Neither has it any place in our legal framework. It's just the toying with time. So the whole concept around placeholder was just this presidential candidate, while in the process of negotiation, still trying to buy time to meet up with all the stipulations and timelines that INEC has provided. For there to be a substitution of a candidate, the vice president candidate must write to INEC with a sworn affidavit stating that he is withdrawing from the race within the time frame provided by the law. So what they have simply done is that they have simply made put in what we call now placeholder. And those placeholder, of course, there will be any kind of internal arrangement for them to now write to INEC to say, look, I'm no longer interested in continuing this race. I'm going to withdraw, which now gives the presidential candidate, opportunity to file, bring in or field in another candidate for placeholder. That's the entire concept. There's nothing more about that thing around or the concept of placeholders.
Okay, I'll stay with you once more, Samuel. Now, what if, the question has talked about the constitutionality of this process. So again, I go back to it. What if you put a placeholder and then it decides to become a clog in the wheel and says, you know what, you guys would have to force me to resign? What happens?
Well,
just in answering the question, Samuel, in answering the question, I also like you to put alongside the issue we had with the Senate president trying to also retrieve his mandate somewhere. He said, okay, please hold it for me just in case I miss out. Just you could take that along.
Yes. So one of the things that has addressed our whole engagement and enterprise of elections in Nigeria is the new electoral law. And so the new electoral law is quite clear on a lot of things that were not clear before now. And so it has also provided us with some kind of timelines within which certain things must happen. So trying to hold a place while you go and juggle for another space and all of that, some of those concepts that has worked in time past, people who have benefited from such things, people like Rocha Sokorocha, who came for a presidential primaries, he lost, and then quickly went back to the state to contest for the governorship ticket, and he won, and all of that. Some of those things have now been checkmate by the new electoral, law. So the idea, like I said, if the person now says, "Oh, I don't want to live anymore," that would be the party's, thing to deal with. But however, these guys are not that. They are smart. So what they simply do would probably to put in a name of somebody with whom they can control, with whom they can manipulate and all of that. That's what actually will happen. Again, that this is Nigeria, and so people can come up with various stories from various angles, in a bid to disqualify the vice presidential candidate, and get him out of the way. Mind you, the presidential candidate is at liberty to choose his running mate. And that's one of the liberties that the law provides the presidential candidate. And so the presidential candidates are to will to exercise that right.
Well, was that what we saw in the case of the PDP, and right now it's causing some internal crisis in the party?
No, for the PDP wanted to be democratic in their process.
But there was a 17-man committee that chose Wike. According to what we saw, 14 out of the 17 went for Wike, but Atiku put his own preferred running mate.
Yes, that's because they wanted to go that route. Albeit, in as much as that has happened, the presidential candidate is still at liberty to choose his or her running mate. So it's important that we know that you understand that angle. Yes.
I want to come to you now, Ibrahim. Let's talk about preparedness of political parties with choosing some of their running mates. Perhaps then the concept of placeholder until they're able to make that decision before we get into the intricacies of whoever emerged on the platforms of these parties with regards the substantive position being given to INEC. But really, after party primaries or conventions that choose the flag bearers of these political parties, does this, do the parties or the candidate themselves not prepare ahead with regards who eventually will run on that ticket alongside the candidate?
Thank you very much, Victor. I think that it's also very important to make that distinction between legislative offices. And so we see the case with the president of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, and his counterparts in that now is holding the ticket, and executive offices. So while running for executive office, for instance, at the time of primaries, you do not have a running mate. It is not a joint ticket. But while running for legislative office, so whether it is the Senate or the House of Reps or the House of Assembly, it's almost like a single man ticket. And one of the things where we are seeing with the case with Ahmed Lawan is where his friend, so to speak, is saying he did not even participate in the primaries. So does he have local standing to say this ticket belongs to me, or I'm going to ask you to withdraw? But in the case of executive offices, for instance, on the day of the convention, we did not see Wike stand with Atiku, or we did not see Okowa stand with Atiku. It was Atiku versus other members of his party. The same thing with the presidential candidate of the APC and all the other political parties that have now submitted the list of names for their candidates. I think, and I think Samuel made the point very clearly, is that our politicians are very smart to explore a supposed lacuna in the Electoral Act. Even though the Electoral Act has tried to speed up a lot of political processes, and it meant that candidates had to submit their names and the names of their running mates at a much earlier date in order not to fall foul of the law. They submitted names even though consultations were still ongoing, as we saw with the case of the APC. In the case of the PDP presidential candidate, we saw where consultations had been concluded, and he had the prerogative to choose who his running mate would be. And I think that's the situation that we saw. I know INEC also just put out a statement recently for other offices that by the 15th of this month, every political party needs to update the names of the candidates for every office on its online portal. However, I think there are two political parties so far that have not submitted any names. If they do not do so, I think by 6 p.m. Tomorrow, that means they're not going to field any candidates in these elections. One of those parties is actually the New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP. So it will be interesting to watch to see as INEC receives the names of various candidates from political parties. I think that's the first indication of political parties' readiness, and that the candidates are ready to, pursue this election to the end.
Okay, a lot of water has gone under the bridge, having picked running mates by the political parties as it stands right now. I think there will be about 15 political parties who will be going for the presidential election. It looks like that's the big picture for us. So let's quickly look at this aspect, which has to do with, okay, in this, we'll quickly just go for a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll take out the issue.
Mr. Incredible.
Yes,
Black
so
boy,
we'll come back to the next question. When we'll come back, then we can do the next one. Okay.
Don't even think about about touching their dad.
Where are you going looking like you want to beat somebody?
We're moving into the meeting.
See trouble. I beg, see what's I order. See what's I deliver. It resemble, and I don't pay online, no. Chai, now why me I dey like buy online only on Jumia? I top or change my items and if I change my mind. Why you tell me before? Now Jumia go dey buy from going forward. But first, that's the apparel. Now me and you today. Super.
Enjoy peace of mind that comes with free returns when you shop on Jumia and avoid stories that touch. Jumia, your everyday delivered.
Yes, so we don't come again. Dangote bag of goodies season 3 don't show. Yes, so spend Dangote sharp make you become millionaire. Category 1, Alele pick scratch card inside bag of Dangote cement and win straight. Category 2, pick scratch card inside Dangote cement bag. Take use and spell DANGOTE. Make you stand chance to win 1 million naira star prize. Category 3, pick scratch card inside Dangote cement. Take and spell DANGOTE. Make you stand chance to win 5 million naira mega star prize. If one alphabet carry Dangote eco picture for body, make sure say one alphabet gets Dangote eco picture on top for you to win the mega star prize. Terms and conditions, they shall feel good music. Yeah. On Strictly Soul.
Nigeria was being described as the showcase of democracy.
So let's establish a simple truth.
No, listen, my society is underdeveloping.
We're back.
An alien system on our people.
Talk politics on Smooth 98.1.
It's still Talk Politics on Smooth 98.1 FM. And so before we went on that break, I was going to ask the question of the matters now arising as a result of the choices that have been made. And what has been thrown up now, it looks more like the issues of religion, which, you know, we've always talked about in the country, is a very sensitive issue. And so no one is actually talking about sensitive issues or issues that will be thrown up by September.
Right.
And that is, the question now is, does religion have a place in Nigerian politics? Samuel, you take a bite.
Right. Okay. So I think evidence abounds that religion actually has a place in Nigerian politics. And we need to understand very clearly what that means. You know, various democracies of the world have factors or variables that inform the choices and voting patterns of people. So for instance, in India, people vote across, the caste lines or the caste system. In America, you know, the issues around numbers and demographic variables are considered, and that's why you have the general elections. So you also have the electoral college process. In Nigeria, religion is very, very key to how and what informs the things that citizens do. You know, it informs a lot of our decisions around our affiliations, our association, where people live, and all of that. And so these, to a large extent, affects how politics is, you know, perceived. Again, Nigeria is a secular state, and Nigeria is divided along two major religions. Of course, there are also others which we can sum up as maybe traditional religions. And one of the things that we need to know is that we need to always have leaders that strive to achieve balance along some of these variables. And that's why even constitutionally, we have what we call the federal character and quota systems. And all of that processes are done to bring about some form of balance. And that's what democracy is about, which is fair representation of everyone. So regardless of how the voice, how small the number is, but everybody's voice should be heard. Secondly, we're experiencing, you know, some kind of division amongst ourselves in this country that requires very pragmatic approach, deliberate steps to, you know, unify this country across various lines. So in the wake of all of these things that we are going through, somebody now thinks that religion is not important. So unfortunate to think so. But the truth is, does religion have anything to do with politics? The answer will be yes, it has a lot to do with politics. If religion does not have anything to do with politics, why do you think that the opinion of our religious leaders matter? Why do you think people will take the things that were said by Father Mbaka some months ago? Why do you think people take him seriously? Why do you think people will take things said by the Sultan of Sokoto seriously? That is because these people who are the managers, or I would call them managers, or leaders of our various religions, they have a far-reaching, overarching influence over the people. And so in this kind of situation where we are, religion matters, and religion should be a variable, a factor that should be reflected in balancing how politics is played in Nigeria. That's my opinion.
All right. I come to you now, Ibrahim. This issue and conversation around politics and religion has been on for too long. As we approach 2023, should we still look at this, religion and politics, or credible candidates that can take Nigeria from where she is now to, higher heights?
Victor, so I believe that ideally, after 24 years of this Fourth Republic, we should not be focusing on issues around religion or ethnicity. But unfortunately, this is where we find ourselves in, where the primary conversation so far around the selection of a presidential candidate and his running mate has focused more on religion and other factors rather than around the issues or their capacity or their competence. And there have been so many conversations. And one of the things that I know, I think Samuel said Nigeria is a secular state. I think we're actually a multi-religious state. And our constitution clearly shied away from saying we're a secular state. But the constitution also refused to adopt a state religion. So in some countries, for instance, it can be called the Islamic Republic of so-and-so. And by this, there's an indication that the state has adopted a religion. And there isn't so much separation between states and religion. But for us, because we're multi-religious, we also understand that there are many different religions within this geographic entity called Nigeria. And I think one thing that has been overriding is that there's a need to accommodate people from every religion. Unfortunately, we've started to see where this is being pushed against. Whether this is for bad or for good, I think we would have to wait and see. If we can move away from this conversation strictly about religion to conversations around competence, because more than anything else, that is where we should be heading to.
I still stay with you, Ibrahim. Quickly, the APC candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, picked the former governor of Borno State, who is a serving senator. And a lot of people have looked at that ticket and have said, this is a Muslim ticket. Are we trying to see, a repeat of 1993 ahead of 2023? And the choice of this candidate, will it mar the chances of the APC or perhaps lead them to victory?
If there's one thing I know about politicians, is that they have made calculations around what the running mate brings to the table. And I believe that the calculations from the APC presidential candidate is that his running mate comes with a lot of electoral value and is able to mobilize votes either from within his region or within the North as a whole. It is definitely deja vu when you look at 1993. And it's interesting that you're talking about 1993 and 2003. And it seems like not much has changed, but I think that the context and the dynamics and how much religion affected politics in 1993 is a lot different from what we have today. And it's very important to be able to balance between different religions. Since the beginning of the Fourth Republic, every winning ticket for the presidents has been balanced between the two major religions that we have had in this country. Whether this is going to mean we're moving away from what that unwritten arrangement was, it remains to be seen. We might be looking at a Christian ticket in 2027, or a southern ticket, or a northern ticket. But until and unless maybe a Muslim ticket is able to ensure that every religion feels a sense of fairness and justice and ownership, I do not see how moving forward we would continue to have the president and the vice president either from the same religion or from the same ethnic grouping. So it remains to be seen whether the choice of the running mate for the APC is either political foolishness or it would either lead to electoral victory for them in February 2023.
Okay, I still want to stay on that theme, and let's get on to Samuel here to look at this. Of course, it's not just about the APC here. Let's look at the Labour Party. There's a Christian Muslim ticket there. And of course, if you look at some other parties, there are about 15 political parties. Why are Nigerians stuck in this way about sticking with just this? I listened to the comments in reaction to the APC choice here, Father Hassan Kuka, when he said, look, there is really no big deal about this. And he said, you know what? Just let people go make their choice. But again, Samuel, I come to you on this one. Are there, is there a shortage of Christians who are competent that have been picked to add electoral value to the ticket of the APC? That's why they had to settle for this Muslim ticket.
Well, Samuel, if you can hear us, we would like you to.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
All right. So, first and foremost, there's something I like to like.
I guess while we wait for him to come back, let's get our other.
I said, it is my turn.
Okay.
He did not talk about competence. He did not talk about capacity.
Just repeat a bit. We lost you for a bit.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Clearly, go ahead.
Great. I said when the president.
What is happening?
Ibrahim would just get us. Let's get to hear your
candidate for APC. Yes. He did not the table. He said, Emilokan, it is my turn. Like it was a right. Okay, it was his time. It was his on the timetable of.
We're losing quality on the connection there. I don't know, but we'll try to get across to you, Samuel. We seem to be losing quality. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Oh my God! Can you hear me? Actually,
go ahead. Oh my goodness. Okay, Ibrahim, you might want to come in now.
Yes, so I think Samuel was reiterating I made around competence of presidential aspirants and now the famous phrase Emilokan, which was by the APC presidential candidate. Who seems to suggest that this was not a ticket that was entirely based on the competence of the individual, but rather on what he believed was his right to become president. But you asked a very important question around the composition of different religions within these various political parties. And I think no one can deny that there are competent Christians within the All Progressives Congress who could have been a running mate to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and names definitely were suggested. We have seen members of the APC come out and say that they cannot with their full chests, come out and campaign for a Muslim ticket, especially Christians within the APC. And we've seen a few who have resigned their membership of the APC or who have either publicly come out, including one senator from Adamawa, Senator Ishaku Cliff Abu. So I think that again, in the spirit of fairness, in the spirit of justice, in the spirit of ensuring that all the different needs, all the different interests within a political party are considered, it would have made made the ticket a lot stronger for a Northern Christian. However, political analysts would also tell you that since 1999, any ticket that does not have a Northern Muslim has not won the presidency. And in 1999, we saw it with Obasanjo and Atiku, and again in 2003, we saw it with President Yar'Adua and his running mate, which had a Northern Muslim. We saw it with President Muhammadu Buhari, who himself is a Northern Muslim. And this is probably one of the things that was playing in the back of the mind of Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he selected Kashim Shettima as his running mate, that since 1999, every ticket that has won the presidency has had a Northern Muslim. The PDP has a Northern Muslim on its tickets. The Labour Party, which is emerging as a dark horse in this race, now also has a Northern Muslim on its ticket.
But it looks new to us since the Fourth Republic having a Muslim ticket. We have Samuel Ikani still joining us, but we're due for a break. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up the conversation on Smooth 98.1. Feel free to call us up 014489981 or send us messages to 0809-444-0981. Let us know if religion has a place in our politics here in Nigeria, and feel free to weigh in on the conversation with regards Muslim tickets, Christian Muslim tickets. Let's keep the conversation going on social media.
98.1. Love music, love life.
Everyone
We were
always
losing
says
quality
I look
on the
young
call,
and
Samuel.
ageless, and I just smile because deep down I know it's just like being with you is refreshing.
Yes, clearly. So we might just use the call.
So stay hydrated.
When we come back from the break, yes. So we are back in 15 seconds. Thank you, Ibrahim.
Time management is something you guys have to learn.
So let's establish a simple truth.
So we're wrapping up.
You'd have to learn big time management.
Politics on Smooth 98.1.
It's still politics, talking politics on Smooth 98.1 FM, and we're heading back to our guest, Samuel Ikani, to conclude his thoughts.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Right. So I was making the point by saying that when the presidential candidate for APC came on board, he was saying that he came to us with a slogan, the slogan, "It's my turn," which did not promote for us competence, which did not spell capacity, which did not indicate that this person was ready for the job. But for us, it was for my interpretation, it was an entitlement kind of expression that it was a song on the political timetable in Nigeria. Then when it came to the time when he wanted to get the running mate, he now introduced another variable called competence. So people asked him, why did people put this particular person? And he said, because of competence. You see, the truth is that what is going on right now in the APC is not really just about competence, but about a drive or the quest to hold on to power at all costs. So we will do whatever we have to do, to hold on to power and remain the ruling party. But I want to show your mind to something that I've seen, which I have to think about. Even during the military era, the military government were careful to also balance the presidential and vice presidential position. So if you remember, the leader and even the most dreaded dictator, Sani Abacha, had Oladi Kodia as vice. So even in the military era, the issue of religion was not thrown away; it was balanced. And so coming into democracy, where we ought to have a lot of representation and fairness at play, we are not having this on board. The reason why people are concerned, not because we don't know that what they have done is a bit skewed, but the reason why people are concerned is because they are currently the ruling party. And because they are the ruling party, they have every advantage on their end, they have every advantage on their end, to run this whole election in a way that is my favor them. That's the reason why people are concerned. Not really because Nigerians cannot find alternatives. So coming to the other alternatives, you can see that the other guys have tried to achieve that balance across religion, across ethnicity, and all of that, which is even making them, some sort of viable candidate or alternative candidates to the guys. However, a lot of orientation and engagement are going on, and I think that Nigeria are wider than before, and we are going to go to the polls and cast our vote, as we did. That's what I have to say around that.
Okay, as we get ready to wrap things up now, solving this issue of apprehension and suspicion, ethnicity, religion. Ibrahim, would it have mattered if, good governance is in place? Would it have mattered if it's a Christian or Christian, Muslim ticket? Would we be crying this loud?
I really don't think so. If every section of the country did not feel that they were marginalized, and interestingly, every section of this country will tell you they are marginalized, whether you're from the northwest or from the southeast or the south-south or the southwest or the north-central. Every religion will tell you, oh, we are also marginalized one way or another. What this means to me is that there's a failure of governance to ensure that every section of the society, every religion, every age grouping or age category, whether you make a lot of money or you don't, has not fully felt the effects of governance. And therefore, it is seen that the seat of the president or any other elective or public office should have our own in it. So that's why you're saying, oh, either I want a northerner like me, or I want a southerner like me, I want a Muslim like me, I want a Christian like me. And therefore, public office is now turned into some kind of treasury or ATM where we have our person and we do not hold them to account. We must go beyond. And I think that as we approach the 2023 elections, we need to interrogate those who are seeking to either be president or governor or members of the National Assembly or state houses of assembly beyond ethnicity or religion, but around competence and what they bring to the table. In past elections, we've seen where candidates make all kinds of wild promises with no backing on how they are going to achieve it. I think that we have moved beyond that. If after 24 years of a democracy, you can just sit down and someone says, oh, I'm going to make the $1 to 1 naira or some other wild claims, without critically interrogating some of those claims, then even for us, we're to blame. And finally, is that beyond just a lot of the noise that we make, so to speak, is to ensure that you come out and you participate in the process. And someone had mentioned that Reverend Father Matthew Hassan Kuka had said, the political parties have made their choice. Now it is the time for the Nigerian people to also make a choice. You're presented with over 15 choices of who to be president. When it comes to the National Assembly, there are thousands of choices. When it comes to the State House of Assembly, there are thousands of choices. But you cannot make that choice if you're not registered to vote. I know that INEC has extended the date for registration, but that window is closing. So it's important to register, collect your permanent voter's card, come out and vote on election day.
All right, quickly, we'll just look at this message in from Dakwa. Dakwa says, the religion should not matter as the candidates are not going out there to build religious institutions for us, because Babangida did it, Christian, Muslim does not make it right. Babangida and the military messed Nigeria up and we're still paying the price. What about other religious beliefs? Who is representing them? Are they not Nigerians too? And then a message from Ambrose. Ambrose is saying, leave the if you're not a member of the APC, forget about it, vote for other parties. The APC members should be complaining about Muslim tickets. Final one I can just squeeze in here because we need to go. This one in from Babatunde says, Tinubu's Muslim tickets, some questions are running through my mind. One, is there no Christian member of the APC from the 19 northern states? Two, if religion does not matter but competence, is there not competent Christian in the entire north? We stop there for now. In 30 seconds, Samuel, closing thoughts.
Right. My closing remark is always remember that certain things have changed, and you cannot come to politics and just change things. So for instance, even if you write common entrance to go to school, you write JAM, you write common common entrance to the federal government colleges. There are things that have to spend. So we can end up in the same school, even though I have from the institutional matching school, and I have scored less than 50, and somebody is from Anambra scores 70, the person cannot go to the same school that I'm going to. I will go to first, maybe the person has to score like I don't want to. And yet we find ourselves in the same school. So we try to balance these things out. We are all going to federal university, where you may not be able to use the cost to a particular score that somebody comes with from maybe the northeast or from the northwest. And yet the person that invests into the cost that requires a very high cost of food. So you be sure
we need to go.
So the point I am making is that we have been trying to balance, ethnicity and all of that across those lines. And we cannot come to politics and actually just try to do it because of our personal interest. So we also need to balance.
Well, we must thank you very much, Samuel Ikani, for being a part of the show today. And we must thank you very much as well, Ibrahim Faruk, for being a part of the show. The show comes back next week, Thursday at 11 o'clock. Apologies, I could not take all of your messages. My name is Victa Pepple.
And I am Omatseye Atsenuwa. Remember that politicians think about the next election and a statesman thinks about the next generation. Words of James Freeman Clark.
Government paid $865,000.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
How is Lagos continuing?
We're pushing daily. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show.